We just got to list a gorgeous home in Surprise, Arizona, and so I thought, hey, what better time to tell you about Surprise? I know the city is often not the first one people think of when you're looking to move to Arizona. We know everybody talks about Scottsdale, Phoenix, maybe Mesa, sometimes Tempe, but there are other options, especially over on the west side. Now, Surprise itself is listed just on the outskirts of Phoenix, and so it's going to be the most furthest northwest corner of the Phoenix metro area. So that's going to mean if you're going to drive into downtown Phoenix or Sky Harbor Airport, you're probably looking at about a 45-minute drive. But the good news is we now have our new Loop 303 up along that particular area, which has become very much needed with all the new housing and the high-tech industry that is going in that particular area. Now, according to Wikipedia, Surprise has about 160,000 people. The average age there is just over 41 years old, and it was originally founded in 1938 by a Flora May Statler, who started Surprise with 1 square mile of farmland. And when people asked, why Surprise, what's with that name? Her daughter said that her mom used to say, "I'll be surprised if this turns into anything." And so here we go, a flourishing, thriving city of Surprise, Arizona. Surprise itself was incorporated in 1960, which is important. We have a lot of areas in Arizona that are unincorporated, which makes a large difference when it comes to taxation. And so that is something to just kind of keep tabs on, as it does affect whether you have local police and fire services, as well as, various tax rates. Surprise is in that furthest northwest corner. Well, the great part is you're enclosed by the White Tank Mountains on one side, add some beauty and views, and then the Sonoran Desert and Lake Pleasant to the north. Now, I know I've talked about this in some of my other videos. People are always surprised at how many lakes we have to go jet skiing, boating, kayaking, you name it. We have lots of good things, but Lake Pleasant is a very popular getaway. And that means you could be hiking, fishing, camping, doing those water activities I mentioned within probably 20 minutes of Surprise. And if you're an outdoor enthusiast, you absolutely want to check out the White Tank Mountain Regional Park, where you could do a lot of that hiking, biking, camping, you name it, they've got it. It's beautiful. Now, Surprise has seen a significant amount of growth over the last few years. As I mentioned earlier, we now have the 303 loop. Well, the area is seeing some pretty significant growth due to the amount of high tech that is coming into that area. For example, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC, is building or has built out already a $65 billion with a B project right there in Surprise. And then in addition to that, there is a $7 billion mixed-use business planning that is going in all along that 303 as well. Lots and lots of high-tech industry coming into that particular area, which, to build those all out and then maintain them or run them, there's that need for the workforce, and with the workforce brings the need for housing. Now, before we talk about houses, let's talk about the schools in the Surprise area. You'll be able to find more information about the Surprise public school system by looking up DYSART, D-Y-S-A-R-T, Unified School District. For the last 2 years, they've received A ratings across the board from the Arizona school system. Along with our public school systems, we almost always have charter school options as well, which I've covered in many prior videos. So in Surprise, your charter school options will be Legacy Traditional, Arizona Charter Academy, and Paradise Honors Elementary and High School. Many people connect Surprise with spring training, and that's because we have the Cactus League spring training at Surprise Stadium. And there are 2 baseball teams you'll see housed out of Surprise Stadium. That would be the Kansas City Royals and the Texas Rangers. If you're looking to do more than baseball or hiking, camping, going to the lake, Surprise has a lot of local classes and activities as well that they run through their Parks and Recreation program. Surprise Parks and Recs offers classes and workshops to both youth and adults. An example of some of those workshops and classes would be martial arts, tennis, racquetball, fitness, teen adventures, swimming lessons, aqua aerobics, and even training to be a lifeguard. One of my favorites for our local parks and recs was that most of them, including Surprise, usually also have spring break workshops. Now, this was a big deal for us having small children for spring break here in Arizona. Like many of our Arizona cities, Surprise also has, as part of their park and recs, spring break workshops and classes, and that was a big deal for us. We were a little caught off guard as working parents. We had young kids when we first moved here, that most Arizona cities, a lot of them, they do fall break and spring break. And fall break is often 2 weeks, and then spring break was 2 weeks. We were used to a 1 week spring break. This was all new for us. So it's fantastic when you find a place like Surprises Park and Recs that have opportunities to keep the kids engaged and busy, so that if they're a little bit older, you know, they're not just hanging out at home, but they're actually out doing something fun or productive. This year, Surprise is opening their 9th fire station and an all-new Oasis Swim Center and Rescue Springs Park. These new facilities will be near Cactus and Perryville Roads. The City of Surprise is actually on all social media platforms, and if you want to stay engaged, connected, find out what's happening before it happens, you can actually go to any platform and go to surpriseaz.gov/connect, and you'll be able to plug in right there directly. Okay, I know you've been waiting for the real estate part of it. So in Surprise, when I pulled up all the current listings for sale coming soon, I came up with just shy of 1,400 listings for available housing in the City of Surprise. Of those 1,400, about 400 of them were 55 plus, age restricted. So really what that's telling us is we have about 1,000 homes in non-age restricted communities, and then the other 400 are in age restricted communities. So we have a little mix of both. Just over 1,200 of those homes are single family houses. Then we have 52 condos for sale, about 16 townhomes, and 84 manufactured homes. So predominantly we're seeing single family homes there for sale in the Surprise area. Now, for curiosity, I pulled what's the most expensive home there, and it looks like there's a couple that are right at the $3 million mark. There were 26 homes that were $1 million or more out of that 1,400. So Surprise isn't usually known as a high luxury area. Now, anytime we have mountains, we have those white tank mountains, and there's potential for views or elevation, you know, that's where you're potentially going to see some of those higher price points pop in here and there. The least expensive home in Surprise is listed at $43,500, and yes, you guessed it, it is a manufactured home, and it appeared to be leased land, which is that lot rent that I've talked about in a few different videos. Most of the standalone homes in that area start around $300,000, and the median closed sales price is about $425,000. Now it looks like the median list price is actually $475,000, which means some realtors are maybe, you know, not quite getting it right when it comes to where to price the home, and by the time the home sells, we're seeing that median price at about $425,000. With that TSMC billion-dollar project and all the growth that's happening there along the 303, we are seeing a lot of new build activity anywhere along that 303, but also in Surprise. And that is something to factor in. It can be amazing for a buyer if you're not worried about a pool. And those builders have some pretty great incentives right now. Often you'll see lower interest rates, buy down interest rates. I mean, to the point where I think we put somebody in our contract last week for a 4.25% interest rate. They often will cover maybe some of your closing costs, or throw in the washer, dryer, refrigerator. Sometimes you'll get some backyard landscaping. It's a little all over the place, but they definitely have some buyer opportunities out there. Now, if you're looking for a pool with your purchase in Surprise, we'll likely want to take a look at resale. And that's simply because so many of the builders since COVID are no longer allowing for the build of a pool during the new build process. Part of it is because many builders have simply just gone over to more of a tract style housing where they just put them up fast, and they're not even available for sale until that home is halfway done. But the second half is a lot of the pool builds, they went from a pool being able to be built in maybe 6 weeks here to months and months. And so a builder does not want the pool process to hamper or hold up the timing of when they can close. So a lot of the builders have just backed up and moved away from allowing pools during the home purchase of a new build. Some surprise builders you'll see are Richmond American, Mattame, Lennar, Landsea, New Home Source, so builders that we see all across the valley. Now you know the drill. If surprise is for you, hey, we can't wait to go show you some houses out there, whether it's in person or by video. Need more information on Surprise or any of our other cities? Message me. I'd love to connect. Let's talk real estate and see where we can help you meet your real estate goals.